Politics are a very real thing. It's what got all of our world leaders unalived, our black leaders unalived. All of these things that happened before you, bro, were very real. Pharrell Williams, you need to shut the up.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. There was a whole lot of that. That's what you needed to hear. Shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. My name is Reese Waters, and this is Who Raised Y'all, where we highlight those unique individuals going above and beyond to make society worse.
Okay, so do you want the job because you're black or because you're the best?
What the hell is wrong with you? You know, the kinds of people you'll see asking to speak to the manager at the pearly gates.
I want to talk to the manager.
I ain't been this disappointed in hip hop since the ringtone era. I ain't been this disappointed in hip hop since they let Bubba Sparks be a thing. This year started with Snoop.
Which one of you jigaboo ass gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the fuck out one of you Uncle Tom ass for doing it. Which one of you gonna do it first? Osby's the one that performs for himself.
At about noon, just thought that I had to be in Compton.
Then there was Nelly.
We're giving you this backlash because you are propping up a white supremacist.
I would ask them to show me where he's a white supremacist.
Then there was Nelly.
I asked Big Head to perform for the inauguration. What?
And still more Nelly. Then 50 Cent decided he wanted to wear the red hat.
50 wouldn't say nothing about the national politics that impacts the entirety of black people in America. Couldn't get you to open your mouth about what black folks should do in the presidential election. Now we got the Department of Education being torn down where black folks are questioned about so many funding mechanisms that take care of black children, special needs children. You use special needs children in your messaging while they're dismantling the Department of Education, and you're trusting the people who are aiding and abetting that process to govern the state of Louisiana with just and equitable policies. If you don't want to say nothing about the national politics where you have national influence, please don't come down here meddling in our local state issues when you have a platform to be able to influence black people all over this country. But it seems you only want to use that when it's beneficial to you, and I call it bullshit on that.
Huh, Lil Wayne? I'm not ready to talk about Lil Wayne. Hey, we still don't talk about Lil Wayne. Matter of fact, it's probably his fault that Drake was suing people because his feelings got hurt. And we could put Nicki Minaj under his ledger as well.
Barbs, I know you're somewhere listening. I love you so very much. You have been the ultimate light in my life and career for so long. I appreciate you, and I want to make it very clear once again that this isn't about taking sides. This is about standing up in the face of injustice.
And now this.
As we look at what's going on in the current political climate, I'm just saying I don't want to turn anybody off, I hate politics. Like, despise them. It's a magic trick that it's not real. I don't believe in either side, so I think when you pick a side, you are inadvertently supporting division. Yeah, it's not a popular point of view, but I just gotta say, like, think about it. The wells are drying up, and okay, now the diversity's off the table, now equity's off the table, now inclusion's off the table. So that makes me ask myself, okay, so how do we survive? Well, are there black people here tonight? Yeah. And in your heart, do you think, for what it is that you do and who you are, do you think you're the best? Okay, so do you want the job because you're black or because you're the best? Do you want someone to support your startup because you're black or because you're the best? Yes. Right. So I think now for me, it's about us having the best ambition. That's the reason why you should support these businesses. Yes, they happen to be black and brown, but it should be based on the thesis that we're the best, not because we are a total shade of a skin color. That's a point of view that I have now that I'm resting on. And if diversity, equity, and inclusion ever comes back in style, cool. But in the meantime, I'm going to focus on being the best because I can bank on that. Because that's what's going to get you the position. Where, I don't want you to give me anything. I want you to panic and not let me out the room because I'm the best.
Right versus wrong is a side. Good versus evil is a side. As a matter of fact, the very churches that we grew up with, in the Bibles that we read, God required that we take a side. As a matter of fact, he said, if you're lukewarm, I will spit you out. In other words, he required that you take a side, that you stand for something or fall for nothing. Is you is or is you ain't is a side. Black people and brown people and women who've ascended needed somebody who took a side for their ascension. It was absolutely paramount to our forward movement that somebody take a side. I think Pharrell is a dope dude, but he is in his position right now because of his resume. Virgil Abloh was a guy who learned how to sew from his mother, who studied architecture, who worked with Fendi. He was so dope that he became the creative director. The first time in a company that had almost been 200 years old, the first time they ever had a black creative director was Virgil Abloh. And if you look at what fashion looked like before him and after him, he changed everything. He changed everything. He was so dope that his resume insisted that they take him, and he changed their fortune. Look at all the fashion houses before him. Everything was a derivative of what he did. And when he passed on, they didn't want somebody different. A company that only had one black person in 200 years took another one. And it wasn't Pharrell's resume that made him the obvious choice. It was his connection to the very culture that Virgil Abloh had introduced.
Now, Pharrell, you know how I feel about the DMV. You know how I feel about the DMV, how much love I got for the DMV, born and bred here, having lived here. Nah, don't do that. Don't do that, because you always talk about how much you love Maryland, and you always talk about how much you love DC. But all you got to say about Virginia is about the state troopers. That's all you got to say about Virginia. Even when the Cavs won a national championship, you slandered them. Talked about how they almost tore down the backboards with all the bricks they was throwing up, and they was basically playing football. That's what you said. That's what you said. No, because you come around every now and again when you want to throw up Newport News and Allen Iverson and all that. Nah, we not doing that. We not doing that.
I need to talk to Pharrell. Pharrell, come to the front of the room. If you're not Pharrell, you know what it is. Keep scrolling. Come on. This is not it. We, as black people, do not have the luxury to be apolitical. We don't have the luxury to say, oh, the system is a magic trick and I'm just going to ignore it, which is probably really easy to do when you have millions of dollars and you live and work in Paris. But in America, our rights as black people are under assault right now. We don't have the time. We don't have the luxury to be apolitical. And we definitely don't have the time to be like, both sides are the same. They are absolutely not.
Now the diversity's off the table, now equity's off the table, now inclusion's off the table. So that makes me ask myself, okay, so how do we survive? Well, are there black people here tonight? Yeah. And in your heart, do you think for what it is that you do and who you are, do you think you're the best? Okay, so do you want the job because you're black or because you're the best?
This is a gross false choice between being excellent and being black, or wanting to be chosen just because you're excellent and not because you're black. Black Excellence has not been the problem, or a lack of excellence in black people has not been the problem in college, in hiring, in promotions. The problem has been white bias against black people, sometimes overt, sometimes from biases those white people can't even see. The point of affirmative action and DEI was not to help black people because we are not sufficiently excellent. The problem is white bias and making white people say, hey, you need to create diverse schools, diverse workplaces, because that reflects the country and is better for everyone.
Well, look, very few people can go back as far as Nerd and that first Clips album, Lord Willing. And I even saw your documentary, the animated documentary that you made. I went and saw that with my sister. But I'm going to tell you this. I don't know that I can get in front of this dragon you gonna get. We'd like to make a trade. We really already there? We already at the trade? But you ain't even talked to nobody about his value yet.
Pharrell needs to shut the up. Because what the are you talking about? Politics ain't real and it causes division, and shut the up. Like, like you benefit from black culture, black people, your entire career, bro. What you mean politics ain't real? Politics is the reason why hip hop became a thing, because people were using hip hop, the same genre that made you a goddamn almost billionaire. It's the same thing that hip hop fought against, was raging against, was combating against, was politics. But like, you can't just say politics ain't real. It's a very real thing. If politics were not real, there'd be no hip hop. There'd be no rock and roll. There'd be no R&B. There'd be no house music. There would no longer be black people. Politics are a very real thing. It's what got all of our world leaders unalived, our black leaders unalived. All of these things that happened before you, bro, were very real. Pharrell Williams, you need to shut the up.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. There was a whole lot of that. That's what you needed to hear. That's what you needed to hear. No, there's a lot of women too.
Y'all, something is in the water and it ain't creativity, because Pharrell Williams has officially floated off into a fantasy world where politics are a magic trick, division is just a misunderstanding, and picking a side is somehow the problem. Let me be crystal clear. Only a black man protected by wealth, fame, and proximity to whiteness can afford to talk like that.
Only a black man protected by wealth has the freedom to talk like this. Now, I would say, unfortunately, it's not only black men that are protected by wealth that do talk like this. And that's a very important distinction that she made. Have the freedom to talk like this because of how insulated they might feel, which for the rest of you really indicts your worldview if you feel similarly and you're not in that spot.
Because the rest of us, the people whose communities get bulldozed by policy, whose healthcare, housing, education, voting rights, and literal lives are shaped by legislation, we don't get to hate politics. Politics happens to us, whether we participate or not. Pharrell said he despises politics because it creates division. No, division was created for us. Redlining created division. Mass incarceration created division. Jim Crow created division. The Voting Rights Act being gutted in 2013 created division. A Supreme Court handpicked by extremists created division.
I would even add the very concept and promotion of race and its purposes in separating social strata here in America and abroad. Division.
Choosing a side isn't the problem. Pretending you're above the fight while the rest of us are bleeding from it, that's the damn problem. And then he said people shouldn't support a startup because the founder is black. They should support the best. Baby, black founders have been the best. We've also been the most innovative, the most underfunded, the most overlooked, and the most gate kept. Support based on identity is not charity. It's correction. It's repair. It's leveling a playing field that was never leveled to begin with. And while he's telling celebrities to shut up about politics, let me remind you of something. Silence is not neutrality. Silence is complicity. Silence is how we get voter suppression, book bans, anti-black policy, and extremist judges reshaping America for the next 50 years while celebrities float around in I don't pick sides la la land. Pharrell has the reach, the power, the visibility, the influence, and instead of using it to uplift, he's using it to detach. We don't need detachment. We need clarity. We need courage. We need people with platforms to understand that politics is the difference between having rights and losing them. So no, Pharrell, you did not drop wisdom. You dropped a cop-out dressed in designer linen.
And by the way, that's not to mention how you yourself have benefited from the very things that you indict.
Now, Mr. Minion, what was the utility of speaking on DEI?
It should be based on the thesis that we're the best, not because we are a total shade of a skin color.
This stale argument is so easy to bring up. Now that you have reaped all the benefits of affirmative action, if we were recognized for our merits, there would be at least one black-owned Fortune 500 company.
If diversity, equity, and inclusion ever comes back in style, cool. But in the meantime, I want to focus on being the best because I can bank on that.
Nobody was banking on DEI. It was a means to an end. The problem is capital. Going from enslaved to citizen. Okay, maybe I'm tripping. I mean, before the civil rights movement, black musicians could play notes, but couldn't own their masters. Black actors could appear on screen, but only as stereotypes. Black workers could tune the instruments, but rarely run the boards. I mean, we do remember that. It was the NAACP that picketed the film studios. It was CORE and the SCLC who pressured radio stations and record labels, forced the hand of the feds, the FCC and EEOC, to threaten networks and unions with lawsuits if they did not integrate. Stay with me now. By the 1970s, music unions were desegregated. There were black film apprenticeships. Now there were black or urban divisions at record labels, diversity quotas in the TV writers' room, and the first wave of black execs. So when you think about a little black boy from Virginia Beach named Pharrell Williams meeting Teddy Riley in 1990, that was only possible because black producers now held some power in the studios. Something that didn't exist just 2 decades prior. I mean, it was affirmative action programs that normalized our presence in Hollywood. No, it's not perfect, but it created the conditions for you to move from the music industry to scoring films. Brother, you may have always been the best, but by being black in this country, we have not always had access to the capital or the backing of the law to build our visions. We are here because of our merit. Stop questioning ourselves. We are here because we've been able to maneuver a racist system, but we don't abandon the work, and we definitely don't speak against it.
Now, Pharrell, I'm gonna tell you like I told Nicki Minaj just now. If you want the red hat, like just, you know what I mean? Like, what's stopping you? You could be the inventor of the oversized red hat. I haven't seen that.
Here's something that needs to be said in America, in the rest of the world, about the world and in positions and things like that. And, you know, we need to talk about qualification, okay, versus this notion of being the best. And let's be really, really frank about this, right? And let's also be really frank about why we had or have the push for DEI, right? Even in the cases where people are the best, you have things like DEI, exist, right? Because there are cases when you are more qualified and or better than people that don't look like you, and you still don't get the opportunity. We have to get rid of this notion that people are begging simply because we happen to always not be the best. There are times when we are the best and we don't get the opportunity. There are times when you are just as equally qualified as another person, and if there's no incentive to give your black ass a chance, people won't take that chance. Okay, let's move that out the way. In Pharrell's world, even in Pharrell's world, and I find it funny that he's doing something like this as someone as a creative director, you work with LV and things like that. Yes, you know, there are times where maybe these companies are looking for the best. But Pharrell, let's be honest. There are times you're working with brands because you represent a group of people. You may not be better than Jack answered off. Maybe that's a opinion, right? But in terms of qualification, I guess you guys would both be qualified knowing music or whatever. But people are looking for you to direct a certain commercial that speaks to a certain group of people. We got to stop demonizing diversity, equity, and inclusion in a country where the best, honestly, if I'm being honest with you, when it comes to, and I'm going to, you know, I just want to put it all in there for you so y'all can get it, because it's so much we can deep dive on this. The best, if I'm being honest with y'all, chances are they're so far ahead of the pack that the color doesn't even matter, right? Sometimes, right? Because being a genius, I don't know, chemical engineer that ends up going to a private, you know, Ivy League, you know, yeah, there might still be some discrimination versus your white counterpart that got there because his daddy, but he's also a genius. But really, truly, the best, that's a whole nother conversation. Mostly in qualification, we need to have a conversation about how sometimes diversity, equity, inclusion is a plus for a company. And I'll close with this. I know you guys have seen like the viral video of, you know, the young black woman that, you know, she was going into labor and that nurse was sitting right there. And you got to take all what I'm saying with a grain of salt. And that nurse is most likely qualified, because if she wasn't qualified, she wouldn't have gotten that position. But who's to say? And not that it's an exact science, but who's to say if there was another qualified nurse that was black, that could see herself maybe in that other woman, and or understands, just because, not because she's, you know, taking more humanity classes than other nurses, but just being as part of a community, understanding how black women pain threshold is judged differently, may go, oh, that's not right, would probably act more, and that would be better, you know, act quicker, and that would be better for that hospital. You know, you have to understand that, Pharrell, when you're saying the things you're saying, you know, that group that ends up grabbing and hijacking your message, they're not just taking that surface level thinking that you have, and they're going, okay, yeah, this, you know, this works. They're using it for an agenda. And Pharrell, that is surface level thinking.
It might seem crazy. And let's not ignore the part where they disqualify all of us unless we're in service of pushing their supremacist agenda. Thanks for coming, Nicki Minaj.
What I noticed that these people do, and it's so silly, is that they underestimate the dynamics, the multifacetedness of every person, which means that trying to like make it about any particular, like a group of people, it's not going to work. Like, it doesn't work that way. And you guys, first of all, do you understand what I just tried to say, or do I need to simplify it?
Yes, ma'am.
Most definitely.
Like, which gay person does not have a mother or family member that, let's just say, if you were to hear about the religion that you were born into, whatever, that
smart people don't like me.
If that's not what you're doing, they will fix their mouths to explain how none of us are qualified. So not the best, not the almost best, not the above average, not the average. None of us are qualified in their eyes unless we're pushing their specific agenda. So once again, I would love to know how being the best is relevant here. Brother, we've been the best, but racism keeps the doors locked. We didn't get shut out because we were unqualified. We got shut out because America was built on anti-black exclusion. Talking like skin color doesn't matter while politicians are targeting blackness and law, policy, and funding is not wisdom, it's betrayal. This is the same tired post-racial garbage that rich black celebrities love to spout when they believe they've escaped the consequences of structural racism and now pretend the rest of us should too. Pharrell, we don't need this watered down, I made it so racism must be over energy. We need truth. We need backbone. We need solidarity, because neutrality in the face of oppression is not enlightenment. It's cowardice wrapped in privilege. That was a bar. That was a bar. Pharrell, can you set that to music?
Neutrality in the face of oppression is not enlightenment. It's cowardice wrapped in privilege.
Well, you should. You should. I know the Clip's got to be coming out with a new album, so you know what I mean? At least that would make a good intro or outro. I'll read it again and hit the notes. I got it. You know. Hey, at least I'm willing to work with you. I wouldn't say the same for Nicki Minaj. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. It's Thanksgiving time, so you know what that means.
Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rice, raw,
Tomatoes, turkeys. It's going to be a little bit less this year, probably. You know, Trump 47. So it's going to be a diet Thanksgiving. But it also means I'll be doing my Thanksgiving video showcasing all the things that we have to be grateful for. And I would love your participation. So check out the community tab and give me your suggestions. It could be anything you're thankful for. I'm thankful they finally will release the Epstein files. I'm thankful Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend got to sleep with one eye open. I'm thankful that no matter how much negative feedback she gets, Laura Trump just keeps singing.
Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down.
And of course, I'm thankful to all of you. So many of you guys have hit me up at admin@reesewaters.com, including my man TP all the way from Germany. Shout out to all my German Americans out there. Let's see, we got, Bruce Willis was born in West Germany.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
Sandra Bullock, whose mother was a German opera singer, and Michael Fassbender. We won't talk about where my mind goes with Michael Fassbender. Ain't no Dominique Wilkins. They're not going to talk about Neek, the human highlight film. Oh, he was born in Paris. He should get credit for that. Some of that Jerry curl dripped in Germany. I know it did. TP writes, Miss Ray, good morning. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. I most certainly did. Bama won, and after nearly a year, I finally got some merch. I got a beanie hat, a Who Raised Y'all coffee mug, and an I'm Troubled t-shirt. I'm providing a photo of all the items, and the beanie really keeps your head warm. I would also say the Who Raised Y'all mug also keeps your head warm because I only break it out when I'm hot. You know, when I'm mad at people, I'm hot, I showcase it and make sure that it's facing whose parenting I'm questioning. But shout out to TP for submitting those and for being such an integral part of this community. Be on the lookout for our Black Friday sale and make sure you order by December 10th in order to get your items by Christmas. Now, a lot of you guys have also talked about the fact that the items aren't on the YouTube page anymore. And believe me, a book will be written all about what we've had to deal with on the back end trying to get those things showcased. But they're still available over at thepeoplesgetup.com. Again, that is thepeoplesgetup.com as well as reesewaters.com. And while you're at it, be sure to send me your merch pics to admin@reesewaters.com. And while you're at it, I could use a good plug for vests. Now in my fourth decade, I feel the sudden need for vests. I could also get a good Stetson hat and probably this time next year, a cane. That's how I see Thanksgiving 2026. Oh, I'm gonna be strutting come election next year.
Down from the bar, there's a platform stage.